Okay, by my watch, it is 3 p.m. or 1500 if you so choose. Time to call the Board of Directors regular meeting to order for Monday, July 17th, 3 p.m. I see that everybody's here, so I can skip item 2. And with that, Ivan, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Hand over your heart. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dory, can we have a roll call, please?
Director Meyerhoffen.
Present.
Director Duff.
Present.
Director Griffith.
Present.
Vice President Sewell.
Here.
President Martin.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
Okay. Counselor, could you go over the rules of procedure?
Yes, according to the rules of procedure adopted by the Board of Directors, all noticed meetings are conducted using Rosenberg's Rules of Order as a procedural guideline. Directors should refrain from responding directly to public comments at meetings of the board. The president of the board presides at all meetings and decides all points of order and procedure during meetings. The president is responsible for the maintenance of order and decorum at all board meetings. No person should be allowed to speak who has not first been recognized by the president. No member of the board should speak more than once upon any one subject until every other member of the board wishing to speak on that subject shall have been given an opportunity to speak. No board member shall interfere with the orderly progress of a board meeting. The board president regulates the amount of time to be dedicated to a particular agenda item.
Thank you, Counselor. Item 6, public input. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters within the board's jurisdiction. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. State law prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the agenda. Do we have any members of the public wishing to address the board?
Not for general public comment.
Okay, and any member of the public in the room? Okay, seeing none. We'll move along to presentations. Shira Hernandez isn't here yet, is that correct? She's on her way, okay. With that, then I would like our terrific mayor, Scott Mattis, to approach the podium, and he has a presentation he'd like to make.
Good afternoon, board members. There you go. So what I tell everybody to do at my council meeting is turn it on. Good morning, afternoon. Good afternoon, board members. It's an honor to be here today, not just because we're saying goodbye to Arden in our community because of his service, but because of him being a friend and for his service to the community that I grew up in and what he's done for our water here in the community. So when I was asked to come give a proclamation, and I didn't hesitate to say yes, I would love to do that. So today I'd like to present Arden with a proclamation. I don't like to read things, but you have to read these proclamations. So I'm gonna get tongue-tied a little bit here, but I'm gonna read it because Arden deserves that. This is the City of Desert Hot Springs, a proclamation, and it says, whereas Arden Wallum has served as the general manager of the Mission Springs Water District since 2005, and throughout his tenure has demonstrated unwaveringly dedication, exemplary leadership, and unsurpassed commitment to the district and the community it serves. We have background music too. All right. And whereas the general manager of the district, Arden Wallum, steadfastly guided the district through extraordinary times and difficult challenges and consistently moved the district forward to become a recognized leader among state water and wastewater providers, garnering millions of dollars of federal and state grants for projects that include, without limitations, the district's groundwater quality protection program that has resulted in the elimination of thousands of septic tanks and the construction of the nearly completed Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility. And whereas Wallum has also been at the forefront of major projects which have significantly improved and enhanced water and wastewater services into the district, and including the formation of the assessment districts, to bring service into previously unserved neighborhoods, spearheading a district-wide water meter replacement program, and continuously providing for the maintenance and upgrades of the district's otherwise aging systems. And whereas Waldom has made it his mission to educate and empower the community with knowledge and understanding of the district's functions and roles in their lives through the Water 101 program, presented dozens of times for community officials and leaders, and other organizations or other organized programs and events for the district's customers to provide a clear understanding of how the district's water and wastewater systems work and managed. And whereas Waldom has become a forward-thinking and aggressive advocate for the district's customers and the community in which it operates water and wastewater services, has planned successfully for the future and leaves the district in a sound financial condition for the lowest debt in decades, and has elevated the district to a prominent and respected position as a water and wastewater service provider in the state and Coachella Valley community. And now, therefore, I, Scott Mattis, Mayor of the City of Desert Hot Springs, hereby honor Arden Waldom for his contributions to the community and congratulates him upon his retirement from Mission Springs Water District.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for all your service. I'm going to present this to you, but I also wanted to say a few words before I do that. When they talk about Arden's 101 program, it's, I had no idea what water was about. In 2007, I was elected not long after Arden was here. And I know we joke a lot about Arden's speeches and how long they can go, but it was enlightening. And I think one of the first jokes you ever made was water's for fighting and whiskey's for drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't understand that at first until I actually started watching and listening to what you were talking about. And sometimes that does happen. But you've been a true advocate for the City of Desert Hot Springs and for the water underground here. And we, as members of the City of Desert Hot Springs, really appreciate what you've done. In government fashion, we can't really give you anything over $50 because then you got to report it. So when you're out and about and you get stressed out, I got you a stress ball. So when you think about Desert Hot Springs, click this real quick and then go back to the golf course. But I also got you this glass, and it's cold. So this will be filled with whiskey and a cigar on me in the future whenever you want it. We'll sit down and have a drink.
I will hold you to that.
So again, we appreciate it, and on behalf of the City of Desert Hot Springs, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just step right in front of Russ, in front of the camera.
Right in front of Russ?
Yeah, right in front of Russ. And then I'm gonna have Russ and my other board members stand over to them.
Yeah, good idea.
And now if I can ask you guys to express this in that direction a little bit. I'm just trying to get it. Russ, can you go a little bit that way, a little bit more? Thank you. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
This man closest to me than more than anybody I know. He's done a lot.
And just for information, you probably already knew this, but the quote was from Samuel Clemens, also known as Mark Twain.
Yes, absolutely. Didn't know the impact of that until I met that man. I apologize. I'm going to slip out. I have another engagement, but I wanted to make sure I was here today to make sure that was presented to you from the city. I believe Councilmember Pye is online. I don't know if she has anything to add, but on behalf of the city, again, thank you and congratulations.
It means a lot to me to have you here, Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
President Martin, Jan Pye does have some words to add.
I'm sorry?
Jan Pye does have.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Jan.
I'm not going to usurp the mayor. I will just say thank you very much for working with the city, especially when it came to street projects. And thank you for educating me when I needed it to be educated with respect to the water. And many times we have the same constituency and you paid as much attention as I did. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan.
Thank you, Jan.
Appreciate that.
Anybody else?
No, sir.
Okay, I have a comment I'd like to make. A lot of people don't realize this, but I've known Arden for almost 30 years now. He and I both worked for the city of Santa Monica, and I was in command of the traffic division, and he was always on the police department, and he was coming in with parking tickets that he needed voided, and he was in the right because he was using his vehicle to perform field operations involving engineering. And there's a little sticker that's on the bumper of his car that is supposed to, the parking checkers are supposed to notice and not issue a citation, meaning they're exempt. And we had this one parking checker who never seemed to spot that
Did not like
sticker.
me, Russ.
Actually,
I swear she did not like me.
Actually, I've been doing some analysis on that, and I think Audrey Peterson had a thing for you. She was trying to get close to you by writing this parking ticket.
God, I'm sitting there in a well parked up there with did have a Jeep. It looked a little weird, you know. Yeah, those were the days, I tell
Yeah.
you. And going down to the salt wells, and it was a different type of world for me in the utility business. It was working for the city of Santa Monica.
And another little piece of trivia information on there, he had long hair and a beard during that time.
Well, and then two of his buddies were we were in law school together, and it was after, and they came up one day and said, we were going to Southwestern, and those two came up, and I thought, oh, well, you know, and it was really hard, and we got to take you down and fingerprint you. You got a problem. Yeah, you know, I thought they were kidding. I got down, I got a little more serious because they were actually taking fingerprints, and they said, well, actually, we found your driver's license in possession of a robbery in Las Vegas. And I said, oh, well, you know, I lost my driver's license when they stole all my stuff when I came out here. And I said, by the way, when did you catch this thing? And it was the night of our contracts exam. So and I was with them till about midnight that night. So they knew that I hadn't done it. Then they started to laugh. And both those guys are judges now.
Yes, very high-profile judges. I think they're both retired by now, but they certainly were. And as a matter of fact, one of them performed the wedding ceremony of oh gosh, what's her name? Angelina Jolie, and in Paris, they flew him to Paris in a chateau there to perform the wedding ceremony. So he was a very well-known judge, and we all kind of laughed at Arden panicking when he was being taken down to be fingerprinted by the police.
They were laughing. I caught them laughing. And when I finally got down there, I thought, you guys know very well where I was. I was with you all night. They had to have their kicks, though.
And actually now, I don't want to move forward on there is moving on to a resolution from the board, adopt resolution 2023-17, honoring Arden Wallem for his dedication and service to Mission Springs Water District. Recommendation is to adopt resolution 2023-17, honoring Arden Wallem for his 18 years of dedication and service to the Mission Springs Water District. After more than 18 years of service to Mission Springs Water District and 35 years as a public servant, General Manager Arden Wallem announced his plans to retire from the district on August 7th, 2023. During his 18 years as General Manager, Mr. Wallem witnessed the best and worst of times. Shortly after joining MSWD, the district experienced one of the nation's worst economic recessions. Mission Springs Water District production numbers and revenues decreased dramatically, forcing Arden to reduce staffing levels from just under 60 employees to 37. In the decades since, he has rebuilt the organization into a leader among state water and wastewater providers, garnering millions of dollars of federal and state grant funding for projects such as the district's successful groundwater quality protection project and almost complete Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility. There is a resolution that has had a lot of the same information that you heard of Scott Mattis, so I'm not going to read the entire thing on there, but I do have, and before I go on any further, does anybody else on the board have anything they'd like to say regarding our number or anything? Sure, go ahead.
As a new member of the board and this community, I hadn't had a whole lot of opportunity to spend much time with you. But I do appreciate you helping me get my feet wet and understand where we're at and what we're doing. And you definitely gave that time to me, and I appreciate it. I don't have a lot of funny stories and old memories. Sorry for that. I'm sure there will be some made in the future. But Mr. Rogers, someone who I grew up with, said often when you think you're at the end of something, you're at the beginning of something else. So congratulations on your retirement. Enjoy your wife and your family. They deserve it. And as an MSWD customer, me and my family thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. Robert?
I actually didn't prepare anything for this because, I don't know, I just didn't. I was like, it's been an honor working with you over the past year. Coming in here and not knowing anything, a little bit of a challenge for me, but it's really an honor to see someone so dedicated to the community. There are people who work at different institutions, city councils, public employees, things like that, who just kind of come in and do the bare minimum. And then there's some that really care for the community, and it's really refreshing to see that, because there are so many people that really don't care. And so as a community member and someone and a ratepayer, I appreciate all that you have done for the district, all you've done for the community. I do wish you the best in retirement. As I told you, sometimes it's just one door closes, another one opens, and I think you'll have a lot of fun, although your wife says you're going to golf all the time. You might want to consider doing something different, maybe paint, who knows. But we're going to miss you around here. We still have, a couple weeks, but I'm sure that we will see you throughout the duration as well as after. And so I want to wish you good luck. I also want to say, as far as this resolution is concerned, I was very, very happy to see that there is no fiscal impact, because I think Director Duff would probably have an objection if there was. Thank you.
Yeah. Ted?
Well, Art and I remember throughout the last 18 years, that every now and then as a customer, I'd walk in here and raise a little bit of cane there with you. And I've gotten to know you, and you're really a heck of a nice guy, and you know what water's all about, that's for sure. And I appreciate what I was able to learn from you. I know you couldn't teach me everything in this short time, but we gave it a try, yes. I appreciate it. And you'll be somebody that'll always be in my memories.
Thanks.
And I wish you well, and I know that, like you were saying, life is opening up a new door for you.
Thank
And I wish you well with that. Thank you.
Ivan?
Just a big thank you for all your years of service. I mean, you've been at this longer than I've been alive, so.
Whoa. That may be this time for me to retire.
Your retirement's definitely well deserved.
The problem is he's right.
But no, I appreciate all of your help since I've been on the board, and I know you really care about this community. It's going to be hard to not see you around as much, but I know you'll still be rooting us on, and I hope you and Tina get to have a lot of adventures and spend some more time with your family. So,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thanks, Ivan.
And finally, I have a presentation I'd like to make to Arden. And step around to the front of the
Okay.
dais. Let's move up to the.
Wow. This is getting to be a bigger presentation.
And same thing before, we'll all stand. This is You want the box?
Yeah, maybe. I
Yeah,
guess.
pass that down.
know.
We have joining us Shira Hernandez from Congressman Ruiz's office. Would you care to step up to the podium there?
Hi, good evening. Good afternoon. Like Board Member Martin said, my name is Zaira Hernandez. I'm here on behalf of Congressman Ruiz. I'm here to present a certificate of recognition for all the years of service that you have bestowed on this great community of Desert Hot Springs, and for making Mission Springs what it is today, which is a worldwide award-winning water district with the best tasting water.
Mm.
So I don't know if you want to come up
Yep.
to
Sure.
I've run into him like 3 or 4 different times actually 4 or 5 different times just in the airport, coming in from San Francisco. I better remember to.
Yeah. Is there any member of the staff that wishes to address Arden during his time? Brian, any comments you want to make?
No, I think we're going to do something for him special the Thursday before his last
Oh,
day.
you
So
bet.
we're going to save everything for that and have it a little bit more intimate. Thank you.
Marianne?
Same Thursday.
Kurt, anything? Yeah. Danny, anything? Same thing. All right. Yeah. With that, we'll move along. But before we go any further, I want to bring special attention to a birthday by one of our board members, Amber Duff. Is her birthday today?
Thank you.
Yes, and she didn't take the day off. And
Pass this.
Hmm?
Do we need to move and pass this?
which one is
The
it?
the resolution for.
Oh, yeah, we do, but I'll just finish this up here, yeah. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, and it's a shame you have to spend your birthday here with us on the board meeting, but instead of out partying, but maybe you'll make up for it later this evening.
My party days are long gone. It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, though, very much for your thoughts.
Would now be, could I make a motion to approve the resolution?
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 202317 honoring Arden Wallum for his 18 years of dedication and service to Mission Springs Water District.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes,
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Griffith,
Aye.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
and President Martin.
Yes.
With pleasure, this motion passes.
Okay, all right.
Thank you so much. Didn't realize I actually didn't take a real close look. We should go back to the employee recognition.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to the Human Resources Report. Arden?
Yeah, thank you. This is something, this is kind of emotional for me, being my last meeting. But this is something that was done, I think, before I got here. It's a little more elaborate, but it's something I've really appreciated this board doing. And I've done it the 18 years I've been here, and that is recognize the employees and taking the time to, stop and think about what we have in recognizing our staff. Today we have a number of different things. We have anniversaries, new hires, and some promotions. So we're going to start out with, first we'll have our new hire, which is Juan Lopez. He will start with our only new hire in June, and that is Juan. He joins us as Field Operations Technician 1. Juan has experience in construction and maintenance, operating heavy equipment, and repairing and replacing water main lines, which I wish I would have had him this weekend when my main line at my home was in need of repair. He's also an experienced commercial driver and holds a CDL Class A license. And he's a Coachella Valley native, which is what we love, and has lived in Palm Desert his entire life. He lives there now with his fiancee Daniela and their two children, Elizabeth and Martin. And I've been told that Juan is also a boxing enthusiast. I thought that was really interesting too. And although he's never fought professionally, he grew up training in a boxing gym and still enjoys it today. And I know Jeff is here to add a few words, so would you do that, Jeff, for me?
Sure. Thank you, General Manager Wallum. Good afternoon, President Martin and members of the board. Juan comes us with some experience with the CDL, and working here in the desert really helps him a lot. We have high hopes for him, and he's been doing an excellent job from the time he's been hired. So a lot to learn, like we all do, still. So welcome aboard, Juan, officially, and looking forward for the future.
All right. Thank you. Always good the getting to know the new hires. Next, we'll go on to anniversaries, starting today with Adrian Gawana, Field Services Representative. And he's been with the district for 1 year. It's his 1 year anniversary. And Adrian is responsible for meter reads, turn-ons, shut-offs, which isn't a pleasant job. And also performs various other tasks associated with field customer service, and that can be quite a variety of things if you know the nature of the profession. I'm pleased to announce that Adrian completed his water distribution operator grade D1 certification. Congratulations. And drinking water regulations have undergone major and dramatic changes during the past 2 decades. That is so true. And the trends indicate that they will continue to become even more stringent and more complicated. I think we're just seeing the beginning. The D1 certification provides training in disinfection, distribution, system design, maintenance, inspections, water regulations, safety, which is always a high priority, and more and more. So I think Danny is going to have a few words to say.
Thank you, General Manager Wallum. Good afternoon, President Martin, members of the board. As General Manager Wallum stated, Adrian has been here as a field service representative 1 for the past year. A little bit about Adrian. He actually came to work for the district as a temp, starting in March 2022 to June. Had the opportunity to train, had the opportunity to work and learn his job. Made it very easy to select him as a permanent person for the position he's in today. If you ever had the chance to interact with Adrian, you'll know he has a great attitude. He's a positive attitude. One of the things about him, he's full of energy, keeps busy. He treats everyone with a lot of respect. That's sometimes I have to ask him just to kind of, hey, loosen up a little bit, but that's just in his nature. He's proven to be a great addition to the department and a perfect fit for the team. Adrian, this past year has been fantastic. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. You complement the department very well. It's definitely a pleasure working with you, and we look forward to many years going forward. As General Manager Wallum also said, Adrian did pass his D1 exam. That's a big accomplishment. He tried very hard working on it, and happy to hear him do that. Congratulations, Adrian. And he is here today and does have a few words. Thank you.
Great.
Good afternoon, everybody. President Martin, rest of the board members. I just wanted to take advantage of saying thank you guys. It's been a pleasure working for a year already, so it's been an honor, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for me within the district. And once again, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So thanks, Adrian. Next, we have Field Operations Technician James Steiner. It's his 1 year anniversary. He performs entry-level skilled work in the field, in construction and maintenance, fleet and building maintenance and meters. He conducts work in water production, distribution, and storage. I've had the pleasure of visiting with him just briefly. I wish I could spend more time with him. He has extensive experience and in heavy equipment operation and holds a D2 certification. And here to introduce him is Jeff Nutter again.
Thank you, General Manager Wallum. Again, good afternoon, President Martin and the members of the board. James is one of the guys that came in who is a hard worker, very hard, here every day. He does the grind. I'll tell you that. He's a guy who you want in his corner after hours and during the day. Recently he's just also achieved his treatment 2 certification that, isn't on this. So that's a pretty big achievement to accomplish CDL, distribution, T2 within the first year of your employment. He's been working really hard. So I'm very impressed with his ability to, kind of adapt to any situation. You can throw him in whatever we want, and he'll do the job. He picks up things really quick. So a great future in this line of work for James, and I do appreciate all the hard work he does.
Thank you, Jeff. And congratulations, James, on 1 year. Now, next we have Michael Moore with 4 years. And Michael, I have visited with a few times. And he's very detail-oriented. I remember that from before, and continues to help the new employees in their training and the construction and maintenance task. He always is willing to come in after hours and assist, and it's such a good addition to the district. And I want to say thank you so much to Michael. And I think Jeff also has a few words he'd like to share with us.
Yeah, thank you, Arden. Again, Mike's one of those guys that comes in. I know I sound like I'm repeating myself, but right now we have a really good crew in the construction and maintenance, and Mike's a very valued part of that. With his detailed work, like in valve maintenance, fire hydrant maintenance, it's really good to put new employees with him to learn the valve maintenance aspect of things. He comes, to the district 4 years ago with prior experience at other water agencies, which has, he's brought to, the team here. So, hopefully I don't sound like I'm repeating myself, but, everyone in our department, including Mike, does a fantastic job. And, Mike's just one of those guys who can always count on to help out and train the new staff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
That concludes our anniversaries, and we're always proud when we get someone that works their way up and gets promoted, and that's what Lorenzo Soto has done. He's promoted to Field Operations Technician 2. He's a good person. He was previously a Field Operations Tech 1 and now has been with the district for over 5 years. He has excellent communications and interpersonal skills. That's so true. And routinely shares new ideas to increase the efficiency of the district, the kind that we really appreciate. And he is always willing to help. He shows new employees how to do things and to do tasks. And I'm told he's known for his accurate decision-making skills on job sites. And I'm sure Jeff has got some additional information that he'd like to share with you.
Yeah, thanks again, Arden. Yes, there's a good reason why he was promoted to a Technician 2. For one, he's right here local, right here in Des Hot Springs, which makes it, very convenient. Lorenzo's the type of guy that you can call him, and he'll come out, he'll help anybody at any given time. Very skilled in his decision making. I've worked next to Lorenzo a couple times after hours, and it's warming to be able to go out to emergency and know that your guy that you have next to you can make all the right decisions quickly, accuracy, and efficient, and he's there to get the job done. And it really shines on Lorenzo. I've been very impressed with him. with his ability to get the work done. He's got a bright future as well. He's another one that teaches a lot of the new staff and very patient with them, explains it very detailed. So again, all the staff has been doing a great job, and Lorenzo is just a great, addition to that staff and CNM.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. That concludes the HR report today. I generally appreciate each of these employees and commend them for their dedication and commitment. So,
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Amber?
Thank you all for your service, especially, those who have taken the opportunity to expand their knowledge and gain additional certifications. It's wonderful to be in an employment environment where you are encouraged to grow, and by your growth, you can encourage your fellow coworkers to also grow. It's wonderful to see as a board member, and we appreciate all of the dedication. Thank you.
Robert?
Just congratulations, everybody. Good job. Keep up the good work. I feel for you field people in this heat. I don't know how you do it. I can't give enough praise to people who have to go out there and work in these conditions, because if I have to go out for 10 minutes, I'm dying. So just really appreciate all that you do to make sure that everything works well, especially given the climate. So thank you.
Ted?
Yeah, yes, I'd like to thank all you guys for out there working in the heat. If you can find any water anywhere, you might be able to wet your hat down. I used to do that trick all the time, and it really made a difference with a wet hat. Keep up your studies and stay safe out there. Thank you.
Ivan?
Yes, just congratulations to everyone. I like honoring all the anniversaries each board meeting, but I think my favorite is always to see those promotions and additional education accomplishments. So just an extra congratulations to Lorenzo and Adrian, and I hope we can keep continuing to promote our own. So thank you.
And I'd like to add my sentiments, but everybody was so eloquent up here in expressing their appreciation for those employees. I don't think I could top only to say ditto on their comments, because you all have done a terrific job. Thank you. Any additional comments from Arden or Brian? Okay. Item 10, proposed adoption of Mission Springs Water District Social Media Policy number 2023-01. It's recommended to adopt the social media policy, and everybody have a chance to look at that and familiarize themselves with the terms. Is there anything more from Arden or Brian on this issue?
we have Marion here.
Okay, Marion,
In case there's
anything
questions.
further on that?
Thank you, President Martin, members of the board. In your packet today, you will notice a red line version of the social media policy that I presented to you on Thursday. The red line edits are based on the feedback that the board provided. I just wanted to make sure that I brought your attention to those edits. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Amber?
Thank you for addressing the issues we discussed on Thursday. They are very clearly delineated here, and I appreciate that. The only two things that dawned on me and came up during our conversation was actually, there's no discussion about all the other departments and their ability to be on the clock and be using or utilizing social media. And I don't believe we have any blocking software that prevents employees from doing that while they're on the clock. So I do know that this policy is specifically for the Public Affairs and Government Affairs Department, and they are the only people authorized to be using and utilizing those while on the clock. But I think you mentioned possibly an employee policy as well, to make sure that everyone is understanding that that is not something within their job duty, then it's not something they should be doing. So other than that, thank you for your hard work. Appreciate it.
Robert?
Just again, great job.
Ted?
No, I don't have any comments.
Okay. Ivan? Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the social media policy number 2023-01. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Griffith,
Aye.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, item 11, Resolution 2023-16, amending Resolution 2023-05, revisions to Mission Springs Water District personnel rules and regulations. It's recommended to adopt Resolution 2023-16, providing the revisions to Mission Springs Water District personnel rules and regulations. Anything further from staff on that item?
No, but we do have Oriana
Okay,
Hufford here, and she may or may not want to make anything, and I think V is here, and now you have John.
Yeah, V is attending remotely as well.
So if you have
I'm
any,
open to any questions that the board has.
any questions? Seeing none? Oh, I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't have a question, I have a comment. I did express my displeasure on this on Thursday regarding requiring employees to use vacation pay to make up the difference between their gross pay and their workers' comp amount. As I said, workers' comp is not taxable, and in many cases, that amount approaches what people's net pay is. It just seems really punitive to me, and if it was voluntary, I wouldn't have an issue with it, but I say that as something that's mandatory, it's not something that I will be able to vote for. So I just need you to understand that. If you were to make it voluntary, I could vote for the whole thing. Otherwise, I won't be able to. So.
Ted?
I had a chance to speak with Director Griffith before the meeting, and I'm not too good at understanding this kind of stuff here. I've never really been involved with it. But now that Director Griffith has explained it to me, and I understand what he was saying, I also agree. This should be something that the members of staff would agree with doing. So I can't go along with it either.
Ivan? Okay, is there,
Director Duff.
I'm sorry,
That's okay.
Dr. Duff?
Thank you. I just want to reiterate some of the comments I had made on Thursday. I too am not 100% comfortable with requiring, although I understand the reasoning for why you're trying to accomplish that. I think there are a lot of other areas of your policies that are kind of opposite in tone. And so this is a little bit hard to understand. And I think that's part of why Director Griffith was saying it just doesn't seem to fit here. But specifically what I was concerned with was some ambiguity and definitions that needed to be laid out, such as E3B, where it says they do not receive sufficient information. I think that shouldn't be left to a manager's choice. I think it should be defined what sufficient information is, and some other things like that. I would be happy to discuss it more in depth, but I also think that we may need as a board a little more time to go over this particular issue. I would love to make a motion to put this on next month's agenda and bring it back. I don't know if that's something I can do or not. I'm fairly new at this process.
do that.
So I would like to make a motion that we bring this back next month on the August agenda so that we have a little bit more time as a board to discuss some of our concerns with Oriana and get a new policy with some red lines added. With her being out during the study session, we weren't able to have the time to do this. So that's my motion to postpone this particular item, number 11, Resolution 2023-16 to August.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, but before we get to the second, I think council has.
Well, I was just going to say, essentially a motion to table it until the next meeting next month, and if there's a second, then there's no debate. It cuts off debate, and you just vote on that motion.
I would second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Griffith,
Aye.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
and President Martin.
Yes.
And President Martin, that's a special rule that applies with a table to motion. Having a first and second doesn't always cut off debate, but with that particular motion, it does.
Okay. All right, moving on to item 11. Excuse me, 12. Moving on to item 12, authorize the interim general manager employment agreement and adopt resolution 2023-18, amending classification plan for fiscal year 2023-24.
And so on this item, Mr. Macy should probably recuse himself since it's a contract for his employment.
Okay,
So you would recuse yourself because it affects you and step out, and then they can discuss and vote.
okay. First, I'd like to hear from our present general manager, Arden Wallum. Any comments or questions concerning this item?
No, I don't really have the knowledge to make any comment.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Amber?
No, thank you.
Robert?
I have none.
Ted?
No.
Ivan? And I have none either. So
And there was no public comment?
any public comments?
No one on the phone, sir.
I'm sorry?
No one on the telephone, no.
Okay. Okay. We have no public comments, so I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Griffith,
Aye.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passes.
All right. Wait till he gets back in the room. Moving on to item 13, Association of California Water Agencies, also known as AQUA. The committee for nominations for the 2024-2025 term. It's recommended to consider nominating a candidate or candidates to serve on one or more of AQUA's standing committees. If you are interested in doing that, shoot me an email so I can add your name to the list. And any questions or comments from the board on this issue? Amber?
No, sir,
Robert?
thank you.
Ted?
We're not voting on this tonight. We still have
No.
two more meetings to go before.
We got a while before the deadline, so we're not voting on this.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Nothing, okay. Moving on to item 14, Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility Update.
I don't, unless Steve had something to
Steve, do you have anything?
say.
No, nothing new.
Okay. Item 15, Critical Services Center and Administration Building Update. Steve? I'm sorry, what?
Brian's the one that did that.
Okay, well,
I have nothing to add.
yeah, and he generally defers to Steve, but okay.
President Mark, could I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, I know we're kind of letting somebody else take over here with this, but I'd like to see that the Critical Service Center be 100% in compliance with the LEED green. It costs a little bit more to do, but I did a little more research on that, and apparently there's more productivity with the workers because of the natural lighting and other conditions that will be created by going LEED green. And there's a huge savings over the life of the building because of the materials you're using and that kind of thing. So it does cost a little bit more in the beginning, but what we'll get in the long run, it will be a lot better. And it'll be nice to tell the customers that we're building the first LEED green building in Desert Hot Springs.
Okay,
Thank you.
Ivan, any questions or comments? Any members of the public wishing to address this issue? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to item 16, Energy Conservation and Efficiency Service Plan Update. That's a presentation that was made by NG Services.
We have nothing to add, but we will be bringing this item back to you in August. But if the board thought of anything over the weekend and would like to share that now, we can take notes and get that to NG. They're not here today. They had a previous commitment.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Amber?
No.
Rob?
No, not today.
Ted?
Yes, I did think of something over the weekend. When they said they were going to go out to look for the loan for us. On a construction loan, when you go to the bank really overlooks every aspect of that loan. I'm not sure if we're doing the right thing by doing the bank doing that, it really works out better for us because we got everything in check. So we have it, the company who's telling us this, and then we have the bank making the loan who's saying that their information is also correct. To have some third parties basically looking for a loan for the district kind of makes things a little bit more complicated and takes it out of our hands because we could look for a loan also. And the other thing is we have that $15 million loan that we already took. And I understand that the financing and how taking some loans out helps our credit rating and everything, but I'm not sure if we should really move forward with another loan until we find what we're going to do with the first loan. So those are my thoughts on all that. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from?
Just one quick. So they right now NG is going out and trying to and reached out doing an RFQ process, qualifications, what those rates are and things of that nature. Their idea is that if they're going through that process right now, we are part of the process, but because in reality the loan, the payback and those things are going to be done by the savings. Or not, instead of paying Edison, we're paying NG to provide the solar field and things of that nature in the O&M. So from that perspective, even though Arturo, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even know if this ends up on our balance sheet because it's actually a lease to own program with NG. So from that perspective, having them do it, because it's almost like if you go buy a car, the leasing agency is the one that's doing the actual borrowing and things of that nature. We're just simply writing a check for that service. However, we are part of that. We are not authorizing anyone to do anything until the contract comes back to you in September. So that's a good question. I will make sure that NG has it and we'll be prepared to talk about it in August.
My thought on that is if we can get a better interest rate than they can, then we've saved more money.
Absolutely, and there's two ways of looking at that. One, Arturo has developed a very good relationship with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is part of the list that NG sent this application out to, and they have a relationship with US Bank. So not only their US Bank, but also the entire process is all about our financial statements, what our revenues are, things of that nature. So that is outside, that's a financial discussion. But from our perspective, we do have the two banks that both entities are most familiar with as part of this process, but we will bring all of that back to you as we lead up to the contract in September.
All right, thank you.
Ivan? Robert?
No.
Amber? No. Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, there are 3 items on the consent agenda. The first is the approval of minutes for the board workshop on June 6th, the study session June 15th, and the board meeting June 19th. Also on the consent agenda is register of demands and item 19, grant of easement with Coachella Valley Conservation Commission for APN 665-200-013. Would anybody like to pull one of those 3 items for discussion?
Not today.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Griffith,
Aye.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right. Moving on to directors' reports. I don't believe anybody gave theirs on Thursday, so we'll start at the end. Ted?
I did have something, but it can wait.
Okay, all right.
I had nothing to report.
Okay, Amber?
I had just a few things. The Desert Hot Springs Planning Commission met both on the 13th of June and on the 27th. They're in the process of codifying and reviewing Title 17. They had done some of the zoning, and they're still working on various aspects of Title 17. They also recently were approving a mobile home vending vehicle park to go to the city hall and another bar. We are still at MSWD working with staff at CVWD as well as, I believe, the CVCC, if I'm remembering the initials correctly. Pardon me if I'm incorrect. To modify or rectify or update the plant list for the Planning Commission's use and for builders' use. And so we're still working on that. It was much more in-depth than I had anticipated. Thought it was just updating it, remove a few and hand them the list, but we're working through that as a team, and I appreciate all the support the staff is providing that. And then on June 29th, I joined staff and Director Griffith and Director Martin on the tour of East Valley. Very glad that I had that opportunity to see that. It was a little overwhelming. They have quite an amazing thing going there, and their new yet to be opened treatment plant is quite fancy. But it was also nice to see the way that they as a district repeatedly looked outside the box and repeatedly looked for ways to work with their community, with their high schools, with their children and their parents and their adults, and creating safe places for the community. It was just a really wonderful thing to see, and makes your wheels spin as to how we in Desert Hot Springs can find ways to do the same thing. So again, it was very valuable, and I appreciated the opportunity for that tour. And again, a huge thanks to the staff at East Valley who took their time and gave us such a delightful tour. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay. Robert?
Okay, June was kind of busy. So I did attend a June 6th DWA meeting, which was kind of long and quite informative. They did... Director McKenna is there. He can attest to that. They did adopt a resolution for President Paul Ortega to be an Aqua Board member for Region 9, which is always good to have the Valley represented. Adopted some guidelines for reserving agency funds, discussion of 2023-24 budgets, discussion of board members' fees. So currently, DWA board members are paid $389.75 per day of service, and there was discussion of whether or not to do a CPI increase. And the consensus was to forego that. So just as a means of comparison, CVWD board members are paid $223, and we, at the bottom of the list, are $100. They also discussed the Sigma report on the Mission Springs, San Gorgonio, and Indio subbasins. If you have the time, look at that agenda packet. It is extremely informative and very interesting. The 13th did a CVWD meeting, also adopted their 2023-24 budgets, and adopted an agreement with the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation to reduce Colorado water delivery by up to 35,000 acre feet a year at a cost of around $400 an acre foot. Change order for the Mid-Canal Storage Project. That's a pretty big project they're working on. 620 was DWA again, and the most notable was the hearing for the groundwater replenishment assessments. The new rate will be 195 acre feet, which is an increase of $20 an acre foot increase. I do believe at that same meeting, and if it wasn't the previous one, they did talk about reducing the assessment on the taxes from 10 cents per 100 down to 8 cents per 100. In terms of the groundwater replenishment assessment, I think several meetings ago, Director Duff asked about what if that charge is for what they actually deliver in terms of replenishment, but it's not. It's actually what is charged for what we pump. And also approved 2023-24 operating general wastewater budgets. 627 CVWD, fairly routine meeting. Most notable item was the reconsideration of their position on SB 583 regarding the Salton Sea Conservancy. And then I also did the East Valley Water District with Director Duff and President Harley here. President Martin here, as well as General Manager Wallman. Assistant General Manager Macy. It was actually it was a long day, quite an eye-opening experience. Really nice facility. Their treatment plant, they're actually also doing biogas, which is really, really cool. And that's not open yet, but the headquarters itself, administration building, was just really, really fantastic. And as Director Duff talked about thinking outside of the box, one of the things that I think kind of really shocked us is they had this little ATM machine that didn't give you money. It actually you could pay your bill through it. So I'm assuming you put your card in and a pin, and then it'll take it out of there. But it was really interesting that they had that. So lots of ideas, came back with lots of ideas in our heads, and so I'm sure you'll hear more about that as we move through the process. But pretty good month. That's all I had.
Okay. It was a busy month for me as well. Desert Valley Builders Association's legislative meeting. And there were updates from city, county, and state agencies, and they're representing, and they gave very reports on legislative and construction development in the Coachella Valley. On the 8th, attended Coachella Valley Conservation Commission meetings and the Energy and Environmental Resources Committee. Both meetings, we had presentations on their budgets and also land purchases. They took, interestingly enough, opposition to Senate Bill 583 involving the Salton Sea, and the issues of concern that they had was the structure of the bill. They felt that it needed additional study, and that there was some conflict with overlapping jurisdictions, the intent of the legislation, and there was a question regarding the movement of previous funding. Where did the previous funding go? Where is it? And so that's one of the reasons that they're opposing Senate Bill 583. 613, Riverside County Board of Supervisors meeting, nothing to report there. 620, City Council meeting. The highlight of the meeting was Marion Champion's update on district programs and events. Of special note was our utility assistance program, helping people with their water, gas, and electric bills. And there was over 100 families in line out the door. I know I was there, and it was very, very impressive, and I think that was a very, very outstanding program that we did that anyway. And I got a really positive reaction from the city council when we were there as well. On the 22nd, the Desert Valley Builders Association membership appreciation night at the Air Museum. That was a really nice event. On 6/26, the Desert Valley Builders Association board meeting. On center stage of budget for May, there was a PAC committee update, and then I attended the Cabot's Museum Foundation board meeting. On the 27th, Riverside County Board of Supervisors, presentations on recognizing employees in different departments for their service to the county. The Behavioral Health Commission, Supervisor Perez reappointed B. Gonzalez. For those of you who know B, she's a friend of the Water District, and she was reappointed to the Behavioral Health Commission. The several public comments on Department of Social Services concerning protection of at-risk children. It was felt that they weren't doing a very good job in protecting the children. And there've been a lot of incidents that were brought to the attention of where they missed the mark in protecting children that had really tragic consequences. So a lot of the public isn't very happy with DPSS. Tour of East Valley Water District. I don't want to necessarily add anything to the tour except that it was very hot. You know, got to remember not to wear black when I'm going to be outside. I had also attended on the 3rd of June the Little League closing event. That was a nice event. Nothing to report specifically there. And on the 28th, the Agua Caliente Tribal Water Authority meeting. A number of things were on there. They had a public hearing on proposed groundwater production fees for fiscal year 2024, their action calendar, proposed budget for fiscal year 2024, well drilling permit, section 33, groundwater monitoring wells. Board member comments, future agenda items. Next board meeting will be on September 27th of 2023, and that concludes my report. General Manager's report. Pardon?
All right, well, I think first, we have the list of strategic planning facilitators that came in on Friday, and Brian, you might want to report on that.
Okay. Thank you, General Manager. Director Martin, members of the board, we did receive 5 submittals in response to our request for qualification. They vary in price anywhere from $35,000 up to $92,000. Obviously, their scopes reflect the various costs that are associated with that. Typically, what we would do from a staff perspective is go through these submittals and then rate them or rank them, and then bring them to the board if it's at the threshold what would require board approval. However, I know in this case, because it is going to be a board activity and include the board, I would open up to any suggestions how to make this process a little bit different than we've do this in the past, because it is going to be consultants that work directly to the board, probably during a special meeting or a workshop to get the board input.
This is a process for you. So, you know, I would recommend that you take a real careful look at, because that facilitator can have a lot of impact on the process.
Okay.
Okay. Now, are there any questions?
Any questions on the board? Amber?
I was just going to make a comment that a workshop sounded very appropriate to me. I don't know if the whole board would need to be participant, maybe a committee workshop or something of that nature, or a special committee assigned to review the 5 players potentially. But yeah, the sooner the better.
Since
Thank you.
this is your thing, might be a good.
To go along with that, what we will do then is we will go ahead and rank the respondents and then take the top 2 or 3 and then bring them in for a workshop and go through the process with them, so you can ask them any questions or anything like that, unless there's any. Top three of 5. Okay, so we will do that, and then we'll establish a workshop based on everybody's availability, and then we'll go from there. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. With that said, then next.
I want to see if anybody else. Robert, do you have any?
Oh, no, don't need to.
Yeah. Ted? No? Okay. Go ahead, Doug.
All right. We're going to start with Arturo's financial report.
Thank you, General Manager Wallum, President Martin, and members of the board. Wow, that feels weird. This is the last time I'm going to say that, Arden. General Manager Wallum.
It is strange, yes.
Yeah, interesting. A quick update on the district finances. We're still trending upwards, $3.5 million for the district. The revenue is below what we budgeted for, and that's one of the reasons why when we budgeted for 2024, we showed less revenue, or basically no increase, based on those trends that we're seeing in the pumping that has been reduced so far this year. We're still, our debt service ratio at 9.95%, which means this is how many times our debt is due, and that's how much we can pay out of it. So we can pay 10 times what it's due at this point in time. Investment return, it is still going up. As you know, the interest rates have leveled up, but they were higher now than they have been since the last couple of years at 0.34 versus 0.02%. The interest on the Wells Fargo, it's now starting to be less the earned more versus what we've been paying. So that cost is now starting to increase, but now we're 6 months within that loan, and we won't have any issues repaying that amount. It's just showing you where we are with what it's earning to cover its own expenses. We're still going to continue to do that. Overall cash has decreased about $10 million from last year. And currently the amount that has been spent on the regional plan has been roughly 33 million. So looking at those numbers, cash going down 10 and what we've paid for the regional plan, 33 million, you take out the 15 million that we added for the loan, we're left with about $5 million in increase if we're looking strictly at cash. So we're still trending in a good direction. And as you can see from last year where we ended at $5.6 million in the year. Now, we're currently in the middle of finishing the interim audit. This year is going a lot faster. We have help now in the accounting department with my replacement, who has been doing a great job. In addition, we have started to request the audit to be completed in October. So we should be bringing that to the board a lot sooner this year as well, and keeping you more up to date with the finances, including some of the changes that you as the directors have been requesting. We're working on those as well, and including those in the GM report. So I'll answer any questions at this point.
Okay, any questions on there, Amber?
I only have one, and I'm hoping you misspoke. You said your replacement. Did you mean someone assisting you?
Well, when I was the accounting manager, I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's already happened that he moved up to
I
the
was just
director.
getting used to you, Arturo. This is not going to work for me. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was the only question I had. Good job. And I like the extra information we're getting. You're on the right track. Thank you.
Yep, perfect.
Only one question?
Yeah.
Wow. Happy birthday. Robert?
I have nothing.
Ted?
No.
Ivan?
Just a great report. Thank you very much.
I concur. It was a great report and short and informative.
All right. Next.
Public affairs?
Yes, next you get to, of course, hear what Marion's been doing.
Thank you again, General Manager Wallum, and good afternoon, President Martin and members of the board. I am going to share screen. There we go. Although we did slow down during the past month, we still were very active within the community. Two notable events were our July 12th blood drive and our last of our Spring 101 sessions. During our blood drive, we had more than 20 people attempt to donate, with 13 actually making life-saving donations. Our drive was part of the Livestream Blood Bank's 11th annual 9 Cities Blood Drive Challenge, which kicked off July 1st, running through August 31st. During the challenge, the Coachella Valley's 9 cities participate in a friendly competition to see which community will get the most involved in collecting blood donations. All of our donations during the drive will count towards the City of Desert Hot Springs. Also, as you heard last month, this week we will have Master Gardener Bert Boss here with us to do a water efficiency presentation that focuses on healthy citrus trees. We have more than 40 people RSVP'd for the event, and we anticipate a full room at the DHS library. I also wanted to give you a little bit of an update about our next series of Water 101 classes, which will start August 21st. Sessions will be held once a month at the DHS library, and they will cover our water system and our wastewater system, rate making and finances, customer service, and long-term planning and regional collaboration. I invite all the board members to attend these informative sessions. In general, the discussions are usually pretty good, and sometimes they get very broad, and sometimes we even take a deeper dive into things that are not even on the agenda. So really encourage, if you have some time, to come out and meet some of your voters, because they really enjoy these sessions. On the, if you were driving down Palm Drive recently, you may have noticed that we've switched out the vinyl on our billboard, and we're now promoting the MSWD customer portal again. Since we launched the portal in June of 2022, we have promoted the portal and its features in various ways, including our bill stuffers, newsletters, and paid and non-paid advertising and social media. I'm very proud to say that we have now reached 45% of our accounts registered for the portal. This is higher than the industry standard, which is closer to 25 to 30%. And we will continue to promote that. And I just want to say a special shout out to our customer service folks. They've done a very nice job of informing customers over the phone and letting them know about the portal, and even helping them sign up. Also, as I mentioned, in one of my last updates, I am planning to increase the frequency of our Water Matters newsletter from a quarterly to a monthly publication, and we'll be doing them bilingual, front to back, English, Spanish. In the July edition, we will have a farewell message from General Manager Wallum expressing his gratitude to the district and the customers we serve, a brief explanation of the two pass-along fees customers may see on their statements, the DWA rack fee and the city utility users tax. We'll also have a story about payment assistance from the United Way's Help to Others program and the LIWAP program. As an aside, our outreach and utility assistance clinics are paying off, as was mentioned earlier. Just this month alone, we will be receiving more than $24,000 from the LIWAP program. We are also continuing to support the City of Desert Hot Springs economic development activities. As we recently reported, we worked with the city to create small bottles of MSWD water that were distributed at trade shows promoting DHS and our great tasting water in Las Vegas and other areas. MSWD provided the award-winning water, and the city paid the bottling and labeling costs. Here on the screen, you may notice in a little baggie is one of those water bottles, and it features a label from Travis, the Travis Was Here artist. That's the same artist that was commissioned to develop the building murals on Pearson and Palm. So you'll see that there's some branding there, and that kind of matches. In addition to this, President Martin was recently interviewed by local TV personalities Brooke Bear. The city has commissioned a 6-part series focused on Desert Hot Springs that will air on NBC Palm Springs and eventually be played in the City Hall lobby. President Martin's interview focused on the water in Desert Hot Springs, and other topics will be included in the travel and spa industry, cannabis, our hiking trails, and our region's history. Once I have dates and details for the airing, I will definitely alert the board so that you guys can catch them. And lastly, I don't have a video to share with you. I'm currently working on our plan for our 23-24 fiscal year. We are retooling several of the videos we did back in 2022 with new talent and things like our medal count, which have changed since the last time we created those videos. I should have a plan to share with the board at our August meeting. And that concludes my presentation today. Thank you.
That's great. Any questions or comments? Amber?
Thank you. Thank you. Great job as always, Marion. Just a quick question, or not question, comment, request. I don't know how to put that. I had brought this up to our IT department last month. On our customer portal, the payment links, it needs to be right there. When you hit payment, you need to be able to pay, not go to another page that you then have to hit another link, that you then have to hit another link. So I think it will provide easier retrieval of payments if the person doesn't get frustrated having to go to multiple different pages to get that payment made. The only other comment that I had was also in regards to those payments, and I had kind of mentioned it on Thursday. You get a immediate thank you for your payment by text if you've signed up all of your devices. But when you're late, you don't get a text message or an email saying, did you forget something? Just an idea. I think that a lot of times, if you're on electric, notification of bills, those things can get lost in your email. I think if you send that secondary on, right after the due date to those who've missed, we may collect faster. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
Robert?
Great job. But I'd kind of piggyback on her, so I don't know if, because I'm not signed up for that, but if, never mind. Just never mind.
Okay,
Just a quick question on Water 101. Do you need pre-registration? If I was to promote it, do you need attendees to register with you before they come?
We would ask that they would register, but we'll make room for anyone that shows up.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Ed?
Yes. No matter how you water a citrus tree, a full-grown citrus tree, I believe it was, I sent you some information on 115 gallons a day. So that's not a water-wise plant. So like you said, you can change your irrigation around, but the plant still requires that much water. So I'm not quite sure why the water district is promoting this master gardener thing. And once again, I appreciate the master gardeners and they do have some kind of education, but they're not an accredited course. They're just calling themselves master gardeners without ever having to go to an actual college. And that's the problem I really have. We just have to teach the people about water-wise plants. And even in the Coachella book, it says, talks about what plants we're recommending. Some of those just aren't water-wise. So we have an obligation to make sure that our customers and the community understand what is going on here with this. So I hope in the future we can correct that, and that's all I'll say for now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Moving on to district council comments.
I have nothing to report today, but I did want to congratulate Arden on his retirement. It's been a pleasure working with Arden, and he has just absolute integrity, and it's just been really, it's been a lot of fun. And also, I wanted to congratulate Brian on his appointment as interim general manager.
And we'd also like to welcome you back from your vacation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Moving on to item 23, director's comments. Ted?
Yes. How do I say this? Director Duff, I'm so glad you told me that you and members of the staff are working with the Planning Commission, isn't it? On the recommendations for plants and that. How I didn't know that's beyond me, because I'm one of those type of guys. If I want to know about graphics design, I'll come here to Ivan. If I want to know about how to run a hotel, I'll go to Robert. If I want to know about the law, I'll go over there to our attorney.
What
So
do you come to me for?
I'm the, well, you know what I come to you for. Whenever I get bored and I want to go around in circles. No, we get along fine. I don't give the wrong impression there. Never mind.
That's why you turned me down.
I come to you to take care of this situation I'm about to tell you it's going to happen here. Anyways, I don't agree with what is being done. I wish I know, and I'm glad you mentioned it, because I have every intentions of going up there. I was waiting for it to get done. Didn't know if the water district was involved with it, but I was going to go up there and let the city know what they really are doing is incorrect. So they're creating heat islands. Is a heat island worse than having grass? Our water runoff is not going back into our ground table. It's going off of because of the decomposed granite. I was looking at it today. I was having lunch before I came here. I walked out, I looked at the decomposed granite, and I took my foot and I scraped on it, and it's like concrete, thin layer concrete. So when it rains, all that water runs back into the gutter. We need it to go down into the soil to replenish our water system. So I don't know what you guys got going on here, but when it's all done, I'm going to go going up there and letting them know how I feel about it. Thank you. I don't have anything more to say.
Okay, Ivan?
Just to further on, congratulations to Arden and to Brian, and I look forward to the celebration to send you on your way. Thank you.
Why do you look forward to it?
Robert?
I'm doing a social experiment. I have nothing.
Amber?
I'm reserving comments as well. Thank you.
Okay, and I concur with what's been said. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of you or heard the last from you. And
I'm not leaving.
no, I know, and we also have a friendship with you. So even if it isn't water district stuff, I'm sure there'll be other reasons to get
We'll
together.
find ways to
Yeah, yeah.
visit.
And also congratulations to you, Brian. Glad you're moving up, and look forward to certainly the next 6 months, and perhaps even longer than that. So with that, if there's nothing further, any comments or anything from the public at all? Hearing none. With that, the meeting is adjourned.